Hello, fellow DEI representatives. I wish you the best of luck in finding funding for grants, scholarships, research, college, whatever it might be, you name it, because it sure as hell isn't coming from the government. And a lot of that can be contributed to this guy named Nathan Cavanaugh. You see, he was the one who was responsible for cutting a lot of DEI funding in terms of grants, over $100 million because of the Doge administration. And I want to talk about it. I'm your host, Seb, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment down below. What's your biggest factor in choosing colleges these days? I know mine was a lot of the money package that came with it and the ability to play sports, but I don't know if that's what you guys are after. The reason why I asked that question is because when I think of grants, the first thing that comes to my mind is college and secondary education after high school. And I don't know if explicitly this DEI slashing was primarily targeting colleges or education, but that's the first thing that comes into my mind. And of course, there are other things, as I mentioned, research and just basic scholarships to do something else. But this is really bad news for the DEI community. And honestly, I think it's just a really bad step back for our society. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys quotes from this interview between Nathan Cavanaugh and Fox. And I believe it was in a federal court hearing that they had this. And there's a lot of things that I don't like about this. I ended up reading a Yahoo article about it. And the two big things that I took away from it that really sucked are one, that DEI was cut, and two, ChatGPT was used to cut it. And I can't stand AI use in terms of in any bad way. And the fact that it was used to slash DEI funding is just like the nail in the coffin. And it was over $100 million cut. And the way that ChatGPT was used actually was that they submitted all of these different scholarships and grants that were available and put it into ChatGPT to find DEI exclusive language. And anything that had any of those like highlight words were immediately flagged and then eventually cut from funding. On top of affecting the recipients, a lot of these DEI staff members that were working for the government were also put on leave, and some of them were eventually just kicked off because their programs were shut down. And so I'm going to go ahead and read you a couple of the quotes from this article, and it was from the conversation that they had. And then you guys can tell me what you guys think about it. So the first segment that I have here is the reporter asking the question to Nate, saying, "You don't regret that people might have lost important income to support their lives?" Referring to the DEI cutting, to which he responds, "No, I think it was more important to reduce the federal deficit from $2 trillion to close to zero." To which they asked the question, "Did you reduce the federal deficit?" And he says, "No, we didn't." I mean, I guess I don't know what the goal of cutting DEI was. I mean, I feel like there are bigger investments that the government has that could have saved a little bit more money and not hurt as many people. But let's go ahead and keep reading. The next segment was asked to Fox, I believe, or at least they're the ones who responded. And they were asked how a documentary about the really bad thing Germans did to specific groups of people during World War II was considered DEI, in which they responded, quote, "It's a gender-based story that's discriminatory to focus on this group." Wow, this group of shared believers just really understands a lot of things about world history and about how it really is all surrounded by this DEI idea and how it's so liberal and progressive. And I can't stand these guys. I can't believe how slimy these people are. And the fact that they tried to include this German event into this crap, it's just astounding. And I want to go ahead and take a few steps back, because I guess the main thing that I really want to talk about is the systematic inequality that we continue to see, that people try to argue about. And I guess I don't understand why their perspective is all about this, because of course, somebody who's never going to benefit from any of these DEI programs is the one making decisions about cutting them all. This is just incredibly sad to see, because the reason why DEI was made was in order to elevate all these classes or groups of people that were discriminated against. And so it was supposed to help you based on your class, religion, race, anybody who was targeted, and try to elevate them back up to be on par with everybody else. Because we learned with the Brown v. Board case that we need equity, not necessarily equality, because in that case, they ruled that separate but equal was in fact not equal. Because that's when they had the whole white and black classrooms, and they said that that was inherently not equal because the funding wasn't the same and their access to stuff wasn't the same. So even though they had libraries, the libraries weren't equal. And that's what this is all about. It's not necessarily trying to say that these groups of people deserve it more. It's supposed to try and correct some of the wrongdoings from the past. In some cases, DEI has been potentially harmful, where they required people to have like a certain amount of each percent of race or ethnicity. And I think that that's not necessarily good, because if you have someone who is of one race, right, and they're like way above the rest, but because you're maxed out on these people, you have to take someone else from a different race who's maybe halfway qualified, like that's not good. But also we have to understand that the greater good of it all is that it tries to bring everybody up, so that way we don't have any systematic inequalities. And these people just targeting it and slashing it is really hurtful and harmful to the progression of our society. And I can't comment too much on this just because I didn't actually see the physical interview, but from the discourse that I was reading about like what people thought on this, is that the interview didn't even go very well either, because there were some remarks made and some gestures made that showed that these people didn't really care at all about what they were doing, and they might have even thought it was funny. Again, I can't comment on that because I didn't watch it, and I probably won't watch it because it might make me really upset. But if you guys are interested in it, I'd say definitely go watch the footage, go watch the interview, and tell me what you guys think about it, or make your own opinion on it, whatever the case. I just hate how a program that was meant to benefit people and like elevate our society is just being considered wasteful. And a lot of the language that they used was purposeful. Like they said, oh, this is just a waste, and how in the future we need to fund more non-DEI programs that are pro-American. And it just feels like backhanded compliments, like saying that funding DEI might not have been American. Again, they didn't explicitly say that, but that's what it feels like. And it just really sucks. I hope that these slimy comments and these slimy individuals are the reason why we get more young people out there to go and vote, and get people in office that are going to want the best for everybody, and not call DEI funding wasteful and get rid of it all. And I really hope that we can start moving to a better society where we don't get rid of programs that are meant to help people, but instead, look at the greater picture about taxing corporations, maybe not giving as many tax breaks, because that's where we're really losing a lot of the money, and we're giving it to people who don't necessarily need all that. But at the end of the day, these are all my beliefs and these are my opinions. And so you guys feel free to, discuss down below. Some of you guys might disagree, some of you guys might partially agree, and some of you guys might fully agree. But I really hope that at the end of the day, we start to see some change, and hopefully one day we can restore all of these programs and start giving back to the community and try to elevate people and bring everybody up to equity standards, and hopefully that day comes soon. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.